It is dawn in Eunice, Louisiana on December 26, 2023, and we find ourselves alongside a unique EMD GP9RM of the Acadiana Railways roster. This would be my second attempt at capturing this locomotive working the Crowley turn job, and unfortunately it would also be my second failure as well. After firing up the 4106, the crewman would get a phone call from his boss to shut her down and head for another switch job the short line has prepped in another town. If you're somewhat familiar with the hobby, you know that sometimes this is just part of it. Plans can fall through all the time when it comes to chasing railroads. Considering that I had already documented the other jobs of the short line in the past, I decided to venture out for something new, but I do want to share this clip of this old rebuilt Jeep firing up. After a brief period of checking the surrounding region on the maps, I decided that I would drive about 80 miles to the northwest to Leeville, Louisiana, alongside CPKC's Beaumont Subdivision. While I do enjoy spending a day on the line just to see what I can catch every so often, I had a specific goal in mind despite the last-minute change in plans. About 2 weeks prior to filming, I was volunteering aboard the CPKC Holiday Express. If you haven't seen that video yet, I highly recommend giving it a look. Anyway, while I was on board, one of our stops was here in Leesville at the yard, and upon arrival we spotted Canadian Pacific 6024. CP road power such as GEVOs, AC44s, or SD40 ACUs have been common sight on the former KCS since the merger, but the same cannot be said for local power such as Jeeps and SD40s. So when we found out that the 6024 made its way to Leesville, we had to make an effort to capture it in operation. Sure enough, we found it tied to a pair of Southern Bell motors assisting in the duties of the Leeville Dodger. The Leeville Dodger is a dedicated switch job for the yard. While not the biggest yard, road trains often drop freight here where the Leeville Dodger will classify it for other local jobs to haul to their final destinations. KCS SD40-3 number 3165 is the lead motor for this switch job. Originally numbered as 633, this motor is a purebred KCS through and through. The same can't be said for the Sandwich 2898. This GP40-3's roots can be traced back to one of the first railroads formed in the United States, the Baltimore and Ohio. The Canadian Pacific was one of the largest buyers of the SD40-2 locomotive, with only Class 1 such as Union Pacific or the Burlington Northern buying more. Throughout the years, the initial fleet of 486 SD40-2s dwindled for various reasons, and of the few remaining, even less have had the honor of wearing the final version of Canadian Pacific's paint scheme that features the golden beaver. I'm not exactly sure on the exact number of these sporting this scheme, because I still have a lot to learn about the Canadian Pacific fleet that makes up the newly formed CPKC. So if any of my viewers from up north could share details in the comments, it would be greatly appreciated. A high railer arrives in the town and makes a quick dismount off of the main line. I'll take a quick break from narrating to allow you to view some of the raw footage of the Leeville Dodger doing its thing. Despite busy switching activities, the main line is still open for business. As the Leeville Dodger blocks the East Louisiana Street road crossing, M275 will blast through. BNSF Power is leading the daily manifest out of Mexico toward Shreveport, where there it will hook a right to the east and conclude its journey to High Oak Yard in Mississippi. While being able to capture the 6024 on this switch job was cool, I wanted to get at least one shot of it leading a local job. Luckily, the Leeville Dodger would go on duty in just a few hours. With his train already built, they would just head on out of the yard and head south for DeRidder. But I still had some time to kill. Luckily, my scanner picked up a northbound that would help kill some time. Northbound grain train G375 is making its way north from Mexico. I'm not quite sure on this train's final destination. The list of symbols that I found online indicate that CPKC uses this symbol for multiple grain trains from Mexico that have various terminating points spanning the system. By the time I got back to the yard, it was about time for the 6024 to depart on the Leeville Dodger. We would catch it south of the yard on this newly constructed bridge, and it just so worked out that 6024 would lead it solo. Unfortunately, by this time I was feeling terribly sick, so I didn't really have the energy for a chase. But nonetheless, I hope you did enjoy watching this video on the 6024. It was awesome getting to film some of the rarer forms of CP power all the way down here in Louisiana. If you did like the video, click the thumbs up button below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Be sure to stay tuned for the next video as we return to the Beaumont Subdivision for an inspection run featuring the Bell business train with its classic F units up front. Until the next time, my friends, I'll be seeing you somewhere out there along the rails, and as always, thanks for watching.